Thank you for your help. Cool. Cody Banks is your everyday nerd who had the privilege of participating in the Central Intelligence Agency summer camp. He wakes up to his family of 4, and his younger brother Alex teases him once again about having absolutely no swag. He tries his best to get out of the house, but his mom stops him just to remind him about his chores. Sadly, all attempts to get his brother to do them fail woefully. Moving on, Cody heads to school on a skateboard, having no idea that a woman on his way left her toddler alone in the car. Said toddler finds his way to the front seat and somehow gets the car rolling into traffic. His mom comes yelling for anybody to stop the car, so Cody skates after it, using the sloping road to his advantage and pushing his weight forward. He manages to grab onto the hood of the car and carefully makes his way to the door of the moving vehicle. Unfortunately, the kid had locked all the doors. A distracted Cody notices at the last minute that a construction site is up ahead, so he maneuvers his way through and ultimately uses it to his advantage as he rolls up on the car again. He then holds onto the trunk, screeching his skateboard in an attempt to slow the car down. This doesn't work, so he dumps the skateboard and dives onto the car like he's reaching for a life jacket. Making his way to the sunroof, the car approaches a train with a speed so scary. Luckily, Cody reaches into the car and pulls the emergency brake in time, helping the vehicle stop mere inches from the train. Just like that, he had saved the day before first period, but didn't want anyone to know. Somewhere in Hong Kong lies the Explosive Robotic Intelligence System, ERIS headquarters. There, Dr. Albert Connors, scientist and father, carries out a presentation to show how useful nanotechnology will be in the case of an oil spill in the ocean. But Dr. Brinkman, head of ERIS, is interested in whether or not the nanobots can consume other things. The moment Connors confirms that they can eat silicon or carbon-based substances, Brinkman gives him 10 days to finish the project, with his henchman Francois Mollet making the parameters clear. Meanwhile, the CIA have heard all about this project thanks to Agent Bolivar, their man on the inside. He warns them in a video not to send any more agents because they've all been compromised. I told you, no eyes here. He even makes mention of Dr. Connors, Brinkman, and Francois, explaining as much as he can before getting caught. Scared that Dr. Connors is too reclusive, the director of the CIA plans to get to him through his 15-year-old daughter, Natalie Connors. With this in mind, he brings up the agent development program. Apparently, they used a summer camp as a guise to test teenagers with potential, training them in everything from bomb diffusion to martial arts. The program sparks controversy among the agents present, seeing as it's weird to train kids. The director successfully diffuses the situation though, bringing up Cody and explaining to everyone that he's not only their best and brightest, but also lives close to Natalie. There's only one problem: Cody can't talk to girls. That same day, in the cafeteria, he tries talking to Amy, but can't even get a word out. All the guys from the team quietly watch him mess up, only to mock him in the locker room later on. They're still doing this when Agent Ronica Miles, his handler, steps in and walks up to him. Cody Banks. The other kids can't believe it, so they cause some trouble, but Ronica takes care of things with a simple towel. Afterwards, she and Cody exchange a couple of code words from summer camp, and he understands that it's time to serve his country. Just like that, the young agent gets flown to CIA headquarters in a helicopter. He's distracted at the entrance by how pretty the whole place is, and as he wanders, he's grabbed by Rozichuk, a guard who has no idea of how important Cody is. As luck would have it, the director steps out with Ronica, only to give Rozichuk an earful for manhandling his favorite teenage wonder. After this, Cody shares a round table with the other agents, where he gives an impressive explanation about nanobots. The director sees no reason to continue dwelling on the topic, so he brings up Natalie Connors, stating her likes and explaining that Cody has to get close to her so he can find out what her father and Brinkman are planning. The agency goes as far as putting him in all her classes, and then jokes about how creepy it is. Ronica notices that Cody seems confused, so she informs him that the mission is to get invited to Natalie's birthday party on Sunday. I guess we could move on, huh? Cody, who conveniently keeps quiet about his terrible luck with girls, tells the director to count on him. Moving on, he pays the weapons lab a visit and gets a couple of gadgets for his troubles. He gets a mobile phone with holographic qualities, a pair of X-ray glasses, and a watch with a silver button that unleashes a boatload of electricity. He's then given $5,000 in cash to buy whatever he needs, but greedy Cody tries to get himself a car. Instead, he gets handed a modified skateboard. At home, Cody lies through his teeth about getting a full scholarship to a prep prep school, Donovan Academy, with Natalie. His parents find it difficult to wrap their heads around it, so they make it clear that they won't agree to anything until they meet an administrator from the school. As though they mentioned her name 3 times, Ronica shows up at their door. Meanwhile, Cody goes upstairs to give them some privacy, but Alex comes in to mock him for messing up with Amy in the cafeteria. Agent Banks. Downstairs, Ronica manages to convince his parents that she's the dean of students, and even presents them with a brochure of the academy. This is all it takes to win them over. Early the next day, Ronica drops Cody off at his new school. Then she and some other agents stake it out from a van nearby. During first period, he bumps into Natalie at the class entrance and is taken by her beauty. Sadly, some bullies stop him as he tries to get in contact with her. One of them grabs his watch, so Cody makes him promise not to touch the silver button. Stubbornly, the bully touches it anyway and gets the hair electrocuted off his skin. Afterwards, Cody goes back to his mission, approaching Natalie, only to use books as an icebreaker. He makes mention of T.S. Eliot, famous writer from the 20th century, having no idea that he's actually a man. He talks about him as a woman, and this freaks Natalie out. It even makes her conclude that he must be some kind of special kid, seeing as they have all the same classes. Cody reports to driver's ed with Natalie, where Mr. Yip, the school's driving instructor, shows up and sensitizes them with his Chinese accent. Apparently, he barely passes anyone, and Natalie has the misfortune of going first. Hi, yeah. She gets more than an earful about how bad of a driver she is. Little does Mr. Yip know that Cody is a menace. The first thing he does when he enters the driver's seat is to cut off Mr. Yip's control of the vehicle. He follows up by driving like he has 2 spare lives in the trunk, and throughout the ride, Natalie can't stop smiling. She pretends like she didn't have a good time though. And Mr. Yip promises that Cody will never get a driver's license. Of course, CIA agents grab him midway to talk about it. Cody heads back to headquarters to update Ronica about the progress of their mission. He does this as he spars with her, complaining about juggling homework, chores, and the mission. For this reason, Ronica promises that the agency will take care of everything else so he can focus on Natalie. True to her word, a bunch of agents show up to mow the lawn, do the dishes, and even clean up his room. But his parents suddenly show up. The agents have no choice but to hurry out of the house, and things get so hectic that they leave 3 agents behind. His parents are nothing if not impressed by the work he's done, so much so that his dad urges him to consider being a janitor if school doesn't work out. Hey, I'm gonna go take Marvin for a walk. On the other hand, his mom gives him $5, but it's nothing compared to the $5,000 already in his possession. Outside, a disguised agent signals him for a meeting, so he lies to his folks that he's going to walk their dog. Arriving at the van, he finds it cramped with Ronica and a bunch of other agents, and gets asked if everything is to his liking. Cody gives his stamp of approval, only for Ronica to hand him Natalie's number. She urges him to call her immediately, but he prefers to do it in his room, so he grabs his dog and heads back. To make things worse, someone farts in the van, and it stinks so bad that Ronica has to kick them all out. Back in his room, Cody practices how to talk to Natalie, messing up every trial until he eventually calls her. Sadly, he freezes up, and Ronica hears the whole thing. She reports back to her boss, who's infuriated to say the least, angry that they've spent over $10 million training Cody. The director goes on to drill him about claiming to have a lot of girls in camp, but Cody admits that he was exaggerating the whole time. You shy? To save the mission, the director assembles a team of experts to teach him how to talk to girls. They summon an animal specialist, an anatomist, a dreadhead playboy, one crazy professor, and a general with anger issues. Nothing works, so they resort to using a hologram, but Cody can't talk to that either. The next day, Natalie is trying to put up their homecoming banner when Cody arrives. He notices that she's about to lose her balance, so he drops everything and runs to her rescue. He then stretches the banner in a way that she slides down into his embrace, instead of falling. Natalie still goes to the infirmary to get her ankle checked out, and Cody, her knight in nerdy armor, escorts her. After putting some ice on the ankle, the nurse leaves them alone for a moment. Cody almost blows his cover during their conversation, making Ronica feel like she has to do something to help the mission along. She goes on to kidnap the real nurse for her clothes. Meanwhile, Natalie admits that Cody only warmed up to her after the 3rd impression and invites him to her party after he mentions that his 4th impression is even better. Thank you for your help. Oblivious, Ronica shows up as the nurse, trying to get Cody invited to the party. It's at this point that she finds out that Natalie already invited him. Filled with shame, she bangs her head against the door after Natalie leaves. Come Sunday, Ronica drives Cody to the van for an update, promising that they'll only be a few blocks away if he needs any help. She then hands him the keys to the sick ride they came in, and he heads the party like a real agent should. At the gate, they check his license, and he uses his X-ray glasses to transmit that they're in possession of guns. While the agents are becoming Becoming more cautious, Natalie sees Cody stepping out of his ride. They talk for a bit, and he gives her a necklace for her birthday. It's awkward at first, so Natalie turns around, giving Cody a chance to get it on her. What she doesn't know is that there's a tracker attached to the necklace. After this, Natalie leaves to handle some bullies who threw someone in the pool. So Cody heads to the roulette wheel, where he makes first contact with Francois, beating him in a game for fake money. That won't happen again, I promise. Yeah, right. Shortly, Brinkman arrives on a boat and quietly makes his way to a secret lab a few ways from the party, led by Dr. Connors, of course. Cody transmits this information to Ronica, who advises him to wait until it's clear, but he trusts his abilities a little too much. With this in mind, he heads back to his car, gets his phone, iPod, and skateboard, and heads over to a makeshift lift for canisters of chemicals. He stealthily gets off before the lift reaches the ground just to hide behind some bushes. He then scans his environment and gets warned to be careful of motion sensors. Cody peels out his laser pen to cut a hole through the side wall leading into the vents of the lab. There, he lengthens his skateboard and pulls himself forward with it until he hears Dr. Brinkman's voice. He proceeds to cut off the wires feeding the security cam and continues to eavesdrop as Brinkman wonders if Connors is ready to mass-produce the nanobots. The doctor claims that he needs freezing temperatures to pull it off, so Brinkman promises to get him more ice than he knows what to do with. Apparently 40,000 nanobots fit in a single ice cube, and they're capable of destroying anything. See if they could eat this. Brinkman tests it out on a sample material and is impressed by the outcome. Only then does he reveal that they plan to use the nanobots to completely destroy the guidance system to ballistic missiles in the United States. Connors laughs at first because their agreement was that he'd decide what to do with the nanobots. Sadly, Dr. Brinkman doesn't care about the agreement. He grabs Connors by his coat, informing him that he's going to program the nanobots to march into the U.S. military grounds and do his bidding. He then mentions Natalie casually so the doctor knows what's at stake. They return to the party soon enough, and Agent Cody takes apart his iPod as he attaches a line from it to his waist. Like a pulley, he uses it to lower himself into the lab and uses his suction shoes to walk on the ceiling as he tries to retrieve a sample of the nanobots. With the help of a grappler hidden in his sleeve, he gets a hold of one of the ice cubes and hides it in a compartment in his shoe. Unfortunately, the nanobots eat through his shoe and he falls off the ceiling, tripping the alarms. Immediately, Dr. Brinkman sends Francois to check things out, leaving Cody in a race against time. What's that? Jumping from one tabletop to the next, the young agent makes his way back to the vent, pulling himself up as fast as he can. Luckily, he makes it in time, but Francois can still hear him crawling through the vents. When they get outside, all he can find are ducks, so they report everything as a false alarm. Cody, who was hiding in the hole he had cut on the side of the lab, then grabs his stuff and heads towards his ride with only one shoe. Some bullies from his school choose now, of all times, to mess with him, even threatening to dump him in the pool to help him cool off. They actually hurl him to the poolside, but the tables turn in a flash as Cody grabs the first bully and throws him into the water. After this, his CIA training comes into play. A kick here, a punch there, followed by a spinning technique the CIA swears is a secret. He puts on such a good show that by the time he's done beating up the bullies, the crowd can't stop clapping for him. Natalie is particularly impressed, so much so that she informs whoever will listen that she shares the same classes with Cody. As the young agent returns to his car, Francois can tell that he's trained by the CIA. He informs Brinkman immediately, and the doctor sends word to his subordinates to begin the ERIS development program. Unfortunately, Cody makes the school paper, thus blowing his cover. Per the instruction from the director, Ronica pulls him off the mission, but he refuses to yield, pointing out that Natalie already trusts him. She only gives him a pin for good luck and sends him on his way, telling him that the agency will keep an eye on him. Brinkman had acquired a state-of-the-art lab in Red Face, but it doesn't seem to be in use, so he approaches Dr. Connors about it. Once again, the doctor makes it clear that he won't let his science be used for world destruction. Brinkman simply sends Francois to motivate him to cooperate. Meanwhile, Natalie pays Cody a visit out of the blue, and his entire family is shocked to see him with an actual girl. Knowing them well, he sneaks her out of the house in a heartbeat, and they go for some pistachio ice cream in a shop not far away. You don't have to say anything. In no time, they get to confessing feelings for each other, but are interrupted when Francois shows up with a burger. Shocked, Cody pushes the henchman into the opposite table and makes a run for it with Natalie close behind. Francois tries to chase after them, but one of the waitresses trips him. It takes him all but a moment to get back up, and unfortunately, Cody gets surrounded in the kitchen. Francois shows up to grab Natalie. While Cody fights off the other goons, he stuffs her into a car outside and then returns to knock him out. He wakes up with a busted eye to meet Ronica and two others coworkers staring at him like snow in Hawaii. He still wants to help, but Ronica advises against it, telling him to go back to living his life. With this, all the decoy buses exit the premises, bidding him goodbye one after the other. Sad, he returns home to worried parents and lies that his injuries were because of bullies. Well, technically, it's the truth, but that's not important. After making sure he's okay, his mom still grounds him for eternity. He quietly goes to his room where he meets his brother messing with his stuff. They struggle and struggle until his hologram phone goes off. What, you think I'm stupid? Cody then admits to his brother that he's in the CIA, but Alex doesn't believe it. Soon enough, he realizes that his phone won't stop beeping, and this reminds him about the microsensor in Natalie's necklace. He tries to reach the CIA, but they keep redirecting him, leaving him no choice but to take matters into his own hands. To keep his cover with his parents, he pays Alex from his $5,000. Almost immediately, Cody heads to headquarters, where Rossichuk lets him in without seeing ID for fear of being scolded by the director again. Cody takes off the pin Ronica gave him, afraid that it's a tracking device, and dumps it before stocking up on CIA-grade gadgets. At home, his mom's feeling guilty about how she treated Cody, but before she can check on him, Alex sneaks out and replaces his brother under the covers. He then uses a pre-recorded voiceover from Cody to respond to his mom's questions. Somehow, it works. At the same time, Cody arrives at a seaplane dock and pays some men to take him to Redface. Without asking questions, they head there on one of the planes. Ronica reports the situation to the director. He stole the car, and he's pissed beyond words, so much so that he threatens to fire her if Cody messes anything up. As it stands, she has to chase down her mentee and make sure that everything turns out well. After landing, Cody pulls out his board, complete with super boosters courtesy of the Central Intelligence Agency, and he glides through the snow like a penguin on steroids. Soon he comes across a gate, which specifically says, "No trespassing," and he chooses to trespass anyway, tearing through it with his laser pen. Without wasting time, a guard chases him down, trying to inform him that he's trespassing. Cody manipulates his board to smack the dude in the face, and then sets him on fire with the flames from the booster. Another tries to stop him but gets knocked off by a tree branch, and the domino effect causes a mini avalanche. Cody finds himself falling off a cliff, only to get stuck upside down in a tree. Like an angel, Ronica flies in with a special grade hover, and just watches in bewilderment as Cody tries to retrieve his board. She offers him a ride after, explaining that she also wants to save Natalie. "What do you think, I'm getting the plork?" Together, they strap in, and in a few seconds, float into the air. Cody then gives directions to Brinkman's hidden lab, which is embedded in a mountain. Brinkman arrives on a copter moments later, so they sneak in before the doors close, hiding behind a bunch of canisters as they make their way deeper into the lab. On their way, they notice a cryo chamber where all the nanobots are being frozen into ice cubes for easy circulation. Cody deduces that this must be how Brinkman plans to take down the government. Meanwhile, Natalie is locked in a dome in the center of the lab, leaving Agent Cody no choice but to break into it. He uses the encryption software on his iPod, and this is where he and Ronica part ways. The moment he steps into the dome, he begins to explain everything to Natalie, trying his best to avoid the camera. It doesn't work. Francois clocks him within minutes and gets sent down by his boss to finish Cody off. Despite all of Cody's effort to avoid the camera, Natalie does like every girl and makes everything about her emotions. Cody plays along though, explaining how he was pulled off the job because he became too emotionally attached to the subject. "And why did you need to get to me?" Her features soften at the sound of this, but Ronica shows up before she can act on it. Too bad that she gets grabbed seconds later by Francois and his men. Cody manages to wiggle his way to freedom thanks to his electric watch. Ronica then gives him a detonator for all the little bombs she planted around the facility. After this, Ronica and Natalie come face to face with Brinkman, and soon enough, they bring up Dr. Connors to see his daughter. Brinkman instantly threatens to release the nanobots on Natalie if the doctor doesn't program them to obey a remote control. He refuses to retract the ice cube despite Dr. Connors explaining that there is not enough time to program the bots. It's at this moment that Cody shows up on the bridge of the lab, threatening to blow the place to smithereens if Brinkman doesn't let Natalie go. Surprisingly, he doesn't budge, so Cody blows it up anyway. With such a big diversion, Ronica easily attacks her captors, kicking them into oblivion while she's at it. As explosions erupt on every side, Cody also takes down as many culprits as possible. At the same time, Natalie uses the opportunity to pick up the ice cube containing nanobots and shoves it down Brinkman's throat. He was already screaming at the time, so he swallows it like it's some ice cream. Scared out of his mind, he begs Francois to stop the nanobots using the remote, but Dr. Connors didn't program it to be so. Helplessly, Francois fiddles with the remote, watching in terror as his boss becomes nanobot dinner. To round things off, Cody comes in with a flying punch, which he sinks into Francois's face, launching him straight into to one of the explosions. It's at this point that Dr. Brinkman deflates into skin and bones, screaming until his last breath. Cody sets yet another bomb on the canisters, and the system announces a breach in the nanobot containment system. It advises everyone to evacuate, and they obey like their lives depend on it. Well, it does. Anyway, Ronica and Dr. Connors take one route of escape while Cody and Natalie take another. Locating a ski bike for easy transport, Ronica manages to stuff the doctor into the helicopter. Brinkman came in and starts the engine immediately. At the same time, Cody is driving like a mom who's late to drop off her kid, screeching up the stairs until he delivers Natalie into her dad's embrace. There's only one problem now. The exit doors are jammed. This makes it impossible for the helicopter to escape. Without hesitation, Cody leaves to find a solution, witnessing as the nanobots tear the place apart bit by bit. This gives him an idea, so he grabs a bunch of ice cubes containing nanobots and throws them in the direction of the doors. They eat it up within seconds, giving Ronica a chance to drive to safety. Meanwhile, the last bomb Cody set is close to detonation as he struggles his way to the exit. Like an undead soldier, Francois appears for a last hurrah, and they trade blows like one would Christmas gifts. With 1 minute left on the clock, Cody starts the one-man copter he and Ronica had arrived in, and buckles a confused Francois to it. He then sets its destination for the CIA and sends Francois on his way. With less than 20 seconds left for the bomb to go off, Cody has no choice but to jump onto the skid of the helicopter, climbing his way up like a gymnast on horizontal bars. Quickly, he urges Ronica to get out of the area, and the moment she moves, the whole place goes kaboom. Later on, at the CIA headquarters, Cody gets his badge back and sees Francois chained to every side of a hamster wheel. The henchman still has the guts to laugh, and even promises to make Cody very sorry. The young agent becomes the official partner of Ronica, and gets a standing ovation from all the other agents, including the grumpy general. He comes face to face with the director of the CIA, who tells him that he did a good job. He then offers to do Cody a solid should he ever need it. Cody immediately cashes it in for Natalie's driver's license and sets on the open road with her later on. They end up parking by the river to watch the sunset, but their moment gets interrupted by Ronica trying to tell Cody that they have a mission. They turn her off without a second thought and continue to bask in their bliss. What started off as a curious boy going to camp ended in a little man achieving more than he could ever dream. Do you think everyone who stays the course can achieve their dreams?